The wormhole spat Seble and Steve's ship into silence. Before them hung a planet the color of rusting blood oranges, its dense atmosphere swirling with endless storms of fine orange dust. From orbit, it looked like a desert world, but something far darker lurked beneath. Steve leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "Looks like a desert world." "Not just a desert," Seble corrected, her gaze locked on the scanner readouts. "Look closer." The ship's sensors painted a grim picture. Grids of collapsed structures, faint outlines of ancient roads and cities now swallowed by shifting orange dunes. This was no barren rock. It had once been home to a thriving civilization. The onboard computer chimed with cold detachment. "Warning, surface hostile, signs of single-cell organism dominance. Recommendation, do not descend." Steve scowled. "We can't just hover up here. We need to see it firsthand." Seble shook her head firmly. "We're not setting foot down there. The whole planet feels wrong. We send drones." 2 sleek reconnaissance drones detached from the ship and plunged into the churning orange storms. Live feeds flickered to life on the main screen. At first, there was only dust-thick, billowing clouds that reduced visibility to almost nothing. Then shapes began to emerge through the haze. Collapsed buildings half buried in drifts, a broken tower leaning like a snapped bone, and strewn across the cracked streets, bodies. Seble's breath caught. "Oh my God!" Thousands upon thousands of twisted corpses, reptilian humanoid in form, lay where they had fallen, mid-flight, mid-fight, mid-desperate flee. Their flesh was mottled with a fine orange fuzz that still pulsed faintly, like living embers. The same insidious growth covered the carcasses of every beast on the planet. Skeletons half-clad in rotting muscle, all overtaken by the creeping dust. "Fungus," Steve whispered, his voice trembling despite his effort to stay steady. "The entire planet is one massive infection." Seble forced herself to keep watching, bile rising in her throat as the drone swept across vast plains of death. The feed shifted upward, revealing something even more haunting in orbit: the skeletal remains of a colossal arc ship, half-built and abandoned, still tethered to ruined orbital platforms. The people of this world had tried to flee their own creation. They had failed. The computer delivered its final, merciless analysis. Dominant organism, hyper-evolved fungal entity, likely bioengineered through advanced CRISPR and precise DNA editing. Purpose, unknown. Result, uncontrolled spread. Outcome, planetary extinction. Remaining life form, fungus only. The silence in the cockpit was unbearable. Steve finally broke it. They created their own end. Seble's voice was barely a whisper. And now the only thing left is a corpse of a planet. What had begun as a promising leap in genetic science had become apocalypse. The civilization on planet Orange had mastered CRISPR-like tools, precise, molecular scissors that could edit DNA with godlike accuracy. In their arrogance, they engineered a mirror-life fungus, a synthetic organism built with reversed chirality, molecules that were perfect mirror images of normal biology. Mirror life was supposed to be the ultimate solution, a self-replicating factory for pharmaceuticals, biofuels, and waste cleanup that could never accidentally infect or compete with natural life. They were wrong. Mirror life proved catastrophically incompatible and uncontrollably virulent. Once released, it didn't just compete with native biology, it rewrote it. Normal proteins couldn't interface with the mirrored structures. Cells were invaded, hijacked, and turned into fungal factories. The infection spread like wildfire across the planet, from the smallest microbes to the most advanced reptilian humanoid cities. Entire ecosystems collapsed overnight. The desperate survivors poured everything into building arcs, but the fungus was already aboard, hidden in their blood and breath. In the end, nothing remained but orange dust and silence. Seble and Steve didn't stay long. They self-destructed the drones on re-entry to prevent even the slightest risk of contamination. Back at the space station, General Rice's face turned crimson as he reviewed the drone footage. You found a resource-rich planet covered in a self-replicating organism, and you didn't bring me a single sample?" His voice thundered through the briefing room. Seble stood straighter, her voice like tempered steel. "That organism wiped out an entire civilization, General. You want me to hand it to you in a vial so you can do the same to Earth?" "That's not your call." Ray slammed his fist on the table. Seble's eyes narrowed, her voice dropping to a lethal whisper. "Mention that planet again, even once, and I'll tell the public everything about the wormholes, the secret missions, the deaths, everything." The room fell into dead silence. Even Steve froze, staring at her in shock. Reese's jaw worked furiously, his anger barely contained. But finally, he growled, "Fine. Planet Orange is off the record. Forgotten." Steve exhaled slowly. "Then let's forget it." Seble shook her head, eyes distant. "No, we can't forget. That planet is a warning. And God help us if we don't listen." Mirror life had shown humanity its greatest hubris, the belief that we could play God with creation without consequence. On planet Orange, that hubris had turned an entire world into a tomb of pulsing orange fungus. A single misstep in the lab, a single unchecked experiment, and everything fell. Some planets are not conquered. They are lessons. What would you do if you discovered a world killed by its own science? Drop your thoughts below. If you want to know what happens next in Seble and Steve's journey across the stars, subscribe and hit the bell. The universe is full of warnings, and some of them are still ticking. This has been Strangest Planets. See you on the next world. After the nightmare of Planet Orange, the wormhole offered no mercy. The moment Seble and Steve's ship broke through, pure blinding light enveloped them. The controls died instantly. The vessel stopped moving, as if frozen in amber. "Steve!" Seble's voice was tight with alarm. "We're caught!" A sharp, resonant hum vibrated through the hull. A beam of coherent light wrapped around the craft, squeezing every thought from their minds. Then, darkness. When consciousness returned, the world felt utterly alien, cold, sterile, perfect. They stood inside a vast, shimmering, glass-like enclosure that curved around them like an elegant cage. Beyond the transparent walls stretched endless gleaming halls of white and silver architecture that defied human perspective structures that seemed to fold into higher dimensions. Towering beings glided rather than walked, their translucent silver skin catching and refracting light like living prisms. Their faces were smooth, unreadable, and impossibly elegant. Crowds of these advanced gathered, studying Seble and Steve with detached fascination. Some pointed with long, delicate fingers. Others leaned in close, analyzing every detail of their suits, their movements, their very humanity. "We're in a zoo," Steve whispered, throat dry. Seble pressed her hand against the glass. "They don't see us as explorers, they see us as specimens." For 40 agonizing hours they endured clinical observation. No food, no water. Constant, silent scrutiny. Whenever they tried to communicate gestures, writing on the floor, desperate miming, the aliens only tilted their heads, exchanging silent glances. It wasn't until the 39th hour that Steve noticed the pattern. "They never speak," he said. "Not once, not a sound. They just look at each other and then act in perfect coordination." Seble's eyes widened with realization. "They're telepathic!" The revelation changed everything. Seble closed her eyes, reaching out with the strange ability she had gained after the Orgard encounter. She pushed past fear and exhaustion, projecting not words, but pure thought. "We are not animals. We are explorers. We come in peace." The effect was instantaneous. One alien froze mid-glide, then another. A silent ripple spread through the crowd. Finally, one stepped forward, its eyes glowing with soft inner light. A voice melodic, vast, and ancient echoed directly inside Seble's mind. "You speak." Seble nearly staggered from the sheer weight of the contact. "Yes, we speak. We came through the wormhole to learn, to make contact. Images flooded her mind, entire galaxies unfolding like flowers, civilizations rising and collapsing across eons, an ocean of telepathic memory far older than Earth itself. She gasped, clutching her head as Steve steadied her. "What are they saying?" he asked urgently. They didn't see us as equals at first," Seble whispered, tears glistening. "To them, only those who think without spoken words are truly advanced. We were just animals in a cage." The lead alien continued, its thoughts flowing like liquid starlight. "Forgive our ignorance. We are the Curators. We watch. We remember." They revealed the secret of their power, the quantum memory matrix, or QMM. Space-time itself, they explained, is not smooth, but composed of discrete memory cells at the Planck scale. Every quantum interaction leaves an indelible imprint, a perfect record encoded into the very fabric of reality. Dark matter, they claimed, is simply clumped aggregates of these ancient imprints. Dark energy is the residual pressure of uncounted vacuum memories pushing the universe apart. Even the black hole information paradox dissolves, nothing is truly lost. It is simply stored in the QMM, waiting for those with the right perception to read it. This ability granted them cosmic archaeology. By analyzing quantum particles clinging to Seble and Steve's ship, microscopic imprints left by their journey through the wormhole, the Curators had already reconstructed vast chapters of Earth's hidden history. "Your world has many stories you do not yet understand," the alien conveyed to Seble alone. They showed her visions of the true age of the dinosaurs, not the simple reptiles of human textbooks, but far more complex ecosystems with sophisticated behaviors and even primitive tool use among certain species, wiped out not just by an asteroid but by cascading ecological collapse triggered by earlier intelligent interference. They revealed evidence of multiple pre-human civilizations on Earth itself, advanced societies that rose, mastered technology, and fell because they lacked moral evolution to match their power. Greed, hubris, and disregard for the living world led to their resets, deliberate or accidental cataclysms that returned the planet to a simpler state, allowing new cycles of life to begin. Advanced, but lacking morality, the curator emphasized. That is the pattern we have witnessed across countless worlds. Yours is no exception. Seble relayed what she could to Steve, her voice trembling with the weight of cosmic revelation. The Curators were not hostile, merely curious and immensely ancient. They offered no judgment, only observation. After hours of telepathic exchange, the glass wall dissolved. The Curators returned their ship, intact and repaired, and gently guided them back toward the wormhole with a final haunting thought. Choose wisely what you remember, and what you become. Seble and Steve emerged from the encounter changed, humbled, awed, and carrying secrets that could reshape humanity's understanding of its own past. But as their ship streaked toward the next destination, one question lingered in Seble's mind. If the Curators could read Earth's true history in quantum dust, what else were they seeing in humanity's future? The Curator's farewell still echoed in Seble's mind as their repaired ship accelerated toward the extraction wormhole. The vast, silent halls of the alien megastructure shrank behind them, replaced by the star-filled void. For a brief moment, peace felt possible. Then the instruments screamed. "Anomaly dead ahead," Steve barked, hands flying across the controls. "Mass signature tiny but extreme. It's pulling us in." A primordial black hole, one of the ancient relics from the violent birth of the universe. Asteroid mass range, no larger than a grain of sand, yet containing the density of a mountain. These invisible predators, possibly a component of dark matter, drifted through space like cosmic mines. Their gravity well was merciless. The ship's trajectory bent sharply as the tiny singularity's pull grew stronger by the second. Alarms blared. Hull stress warnings flashed red. The vessel shuddered violently as space-time itself warped around them. Stars in the viewport stretched into distorted streaks. "We're too close!" Seble shouted. "Thrusters at full, it's not enough!" The black hole's event horizon wasn't visible, but its tidal forces were. The front of the ship began to stretch unnaturally. Warning panels lit up with structural failure alerts. One more second, and the craft would be torn apart molecule by molecule, its information forever lost to the singularity. Then salvation. A brilliant tractor beam lanced out from the Curators' distant station, enveloping their ship in a cocoon of stabilizing energy. The crushing pull eased. The vessel stabilized. With graceful precision, the Advanced gently nudged them back onto a safe trajectory, away from the invisible killer. The lead Curator's voice resonated one final time in Seble's mind, calm yet grave. "Be careful where you travel. Space is filled with dangers your kind cannot yet detect. Primordial singularities, quantum foam instabilities, echoes of the universe's violent youth. Learn humility, or the cosmos will teach it to you." The connection faded. The Curators were gone. Seble and Steve sat in stunned silence as their ship coasted toward the waiting wormhole. The encounter with the primordial black hole had been a terrifying reminder of how fragile even their advanced technology truly was in the face of the universe's hidden threats. They emerged on the other side and docked at the International Space Station orbiting Earth. The familiar hum of the station felt almost comforting after the cosmic wonders and dangers they had witnessed. In the debriefing room, General Riser's face filled the screen. At first, he was all sharp smiles. "Excellent work. The data you brought back on these so-called curators is invaluable." Then his tone shifted, sharp and cutting. "But they caged you like zoo animals, dismissed our species as primitives, and told you not to return?" His fist slammed onto the table. "Then they are hostile. Orgrad, that's what we'll call it. A hostile planet." Seble flinched at the word but spoke firmly. "They're not hostile, sir. They're beyond us. They simply don't think we're ready." Rise leaned forward, eyes cold and ambitious. "Then we'll make ourselves ready. And when they come back in 200 years, Earth won't be begging for recognition. We'll be demanding it." Steve and Seble exchanged a heavy glance in the corridor afterward. The unspoken question hung between them like a shadow. "Ready for what?" Seble touched the side of her head, still feeling the echo of the Curator's vast ancient minds. She had seen too much, the true history of Earth, the cycles of rise and fall, the dangers hidden in the quantum fabric of reality. Some encounters change everything, and some warnings are best heeded.